Are you home buyers or home sellers in Washington, North Carolina?
We hope you love these videos because we love talking about what's been happening in our neighborhood, not just what's happening in national news. We like to look at what the data, what the numbers are telling us right here in Little Washington, so you can make an informed decision based on your market data, and not necessarily market data from like Arizona, because Arizona doesn't affect necessarily here in Little Washington. So with that, let's start talking about, let's talk about supply and demand and what that is.
Exactly. The supply and demand, when we wanted to really talk about the inventory rate.
You're going to get to that's the actual supply. So supply is how much home sellers are going to sell their home for. But demand is how much buyers are willing to pay for it. Supply and demand meet in the middle, and that's where prices actually are formed. So that is why we want to talk about this. Now let's talk about that inventory rate, which gives us that sales data.
And active homes on the October was 47 homes in Washington, North Carolina. 14 homes actually went under the contract and 22 homes sold, which brings us to 2.77 month of inventory rate.
Now, if you look at the previous month, though, previous month was a little different. There was 51 active homes, 19 pending or under contract, and 38 sold, which was only 1.84 months of supply. So a lot of supply got sold in September. What about last year?
And last year, if you look at the data, we have 60 homes actually active on the market, 18 homes they went under the contract, and 24 homes actually sold, which brings us to 3.20 months of the inventory rate.
So inventory actually decreased from last year. And don't forget, last year was the time of, plenty. There was interest rates were lower and people were buying homes more. So let's talk about average days on the market.
And more data, we wanted to talk about the average days on the market. That also tells us another factor that affect. And then the average days on the market actually tremendously decreased. Just months of the October was 29 days, and how many days was the last month of
57 the month before that. So you can see days on market shortened by a lot. But then let's take a broader view about last year. What happened last year?
Last year was 34 days on the market,
which means average days on the market has actually decreased a lot in Washington, which means there's a lot happening in Washington that people are moving a little faster these days.
Yes, and the absorption rate actually is not changed that much. It was from 2.1 to 191. Absorption rate actually is decreased in the market, and that's determined that if we are dealing with the seller's market or the buyer's market. Mm-hmm.
If we're looking at median list price, median is going to be the middle, right? So median list price is how much they put into the MLS, how much the seller wants the house for.
Yes.
Median sale price is going to give the opposite. That's the median of what actually homes sold for. Now, this is not the same to house necessarily, but it's going to give you the data on what's happening middle of the market. So in October 2023, median list price was
$310,240, and the sold price actually was $266,495.
What about the month before that?
A month before that actually was a little bit higher, $312,240.
And before you start thinking, the sky is falling, we should look at longer term data. Oh, sorry, I didn't give you the other.
And actually, the sold price was $268,740.
Now we'll hop into last year's data before we all freak out, right? So $274,100 was the list price, and then the sales price was $243,625. So you can see the median sale price actually increased by 9.39%, and list price also is increased by 13% compared to last year. Now let's talk about that down and dirty number.
Exactly. This way,
what does that mean?
When you wanted to calculate how much this house worth, you have the way to do it. But don't forget, it depends on location, the condition of the homes, many factors that that's going to affect the market value of the homes.
So we're looking at median price per square foot. So this means that for new construction, pre-owned construction, or pre-owned homes, and then we can kind of see from all homes, townhomes, condos, everything, but there wasn't a lot of new construction with all the condos and townhomes and duplexes for this month. So at the filming of this video, the new was pretty much new construction was homes, and that was $191 a square foot. But what about that pre-owned?
And then all the pre-owned home, as my wife said, including condo and townhouse and single-family home, that majority of was a single-family home, was 151.
Right, and there's no statistical data because most of the homes in this area are single-family home. Now, if we look at what's going on, if we break it down between new and pre-owned, new construction in the market was 0.5 months of supply last month, whereas previously owned homes was 0.6 months. What about the month before that?
A month before that, actually, we had more supply for the brand new construction, 0.9, and less previously owned, 0.3 months. Therefore, we are actually facing a tremendous low supply.
There's not a lot of supply going on in Washington right now.
Washington, North Carolina.
Now let's talk about that mean home value. So if we look at October 2023, the mean home value for all homes, and mean is going to be weighted, by the way. So shacks versus mansions. So they do try to take into a factor of that. So 223.68 was the mean home value last month. What about the month before that?
And September actually was 227.66. Therefore, is very close. Is all in the range of 220.
But if you look at it with a longer term lens, we look at it, and last year it was 212.018, which brings us to 4.6% of appreciation in the market of the Washington, North Carolina. Now, if you're talking about median rent for all homes, so what is that?
It was $1,050. That means from the 1 bedroom to all the way to 5 bedrooms in the market, and that is the median.
Right, so now let's just quickly break it down for you. If you're a home buyer, you're looking at these inventory rates and seeing there's not a lot of inventory in Washington. So there are home options available. Make sure you're looking at your best at your market. However, the new homes, the good homes always go fast. So stay updated, be ready to go. And with interest rates that have now dropped a little bit, now's the time to grab what you can, to be entirely honest.
And then definitely look at the price movement. As we said, the sold price went increased by 9.39% and the sale price went over 13%. That means you need to, when you like the house, you're definitely going to move forward and go after what you want.
Okay, and just if you're considering renting versus buying, I want to just quickly add with the last thing we'll talk about for buyers is that yes, when you go from renting to buying, there is probably going to be a how much you pay monthly shift. However, we are paying for when we can't afford to pay this anymore. So we have to think of it in terms of ahead. Think when you're 65, 70, 80, can you still be affording your life? Can you afford to live in your home? Are you allowed to retire? Because if you still have to pay rent every month, are you really living a good life there, to be honest? So it's better to pay a little bit more when we're young and able, and therefore we're paying for where we can live when we can't afford to do that anymore. So I just want us to think the pros and cons of rent versus buying, because there's a lot of not more reason to buy than to stay renting.
And now for sellers, we wanted to talk about the price strategy. And as we said, the sold price, actually list price was over 13% and sold price was 9.39%.
Right. So, I mean, just make sure that we're looking at what is in your market, what's going on. Look at the market data specifically around your home. Adjust your price based on what is there. So, really we'd love to have a good conversation with you to make sure that we're getting the most amount of money for you while still helping you.
Yes. And then staging a house and also emphasizing the property features, that is one of the most important, because it's important to the home buyers that what your home really offers, and highlighting it helps you to get the most money.
And by staying informed on those home market trends, like by watching this video, you already know that, Mark, year over year, your house has increased at least 4.6%. So if you bought it last year, you've already seen an increase in value, which is great. So consider all of this when we're talking about listing your home with us. We're happy to talk to you more in detail about what your home actually is increased for.
Exactly. Do you want to add
anything?
anything?
I think that's it. I think it's time
And see you in the next podcast and video. Don't forget to call us at 252-327-3357, and also don't forget to leave us a comment and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and see you next video and podcast.